Hey there, it's Bergeron here with you. Today I want to take a close look at Expressionism. I really want to show you the colors that I use and the ways that I combine them to get an expressionistic type of painting. Now, Expressionism really started off as a rebellion against realism. So you have to think that if you're going to rebel against realism, you're probably not going to use realistic colors. So what I have here is just a bit of watercolor painting. I seriously only took a couple of minutes to put this on the paper. This is just going to be background. But really what I did was I used wet on wet. I put a little bit of blue in the background. I put a little bit of yellow and green across here. Some fallish kind of colors. I live in Southern Ontario and we have fall here. So you can do this with any watercolor painting that you have. The two products that I really seem to like a lot when I'm using expressionistic painting is this Derwent Inktense blocks. And this is Derwent, this is also Inktense, but this is water soluble metallic pencils. And you'll see the colors on them are pretty cool. Anyways, we'll look at that. And these are the blocks. Okay, so you can put this block directly onto the page, but I don't use it like that. I use it a little bit differently. Let me show you. So I'm just gonna set these over here for a second. Actually, you know what? We're gonna come back to the blocks. Let's start with these. These are just a regular pencil. They sharpen just like a regular pencil. I'll sharpen it on here, but they sharpen just like a regular pencil. But this is ink. It's just a hardened form of ink. Okay, and this is a little bit metallic kind of colored. So this is blue. So if I'm an expressionist and I'm going to work in expressionistic style, I might choose blue as my tree branches instead of brown. Okay, so that's what I'm going to put in here. I'm just going to put in, I'm just going to allude to some tree branches. Okay, and okay, and go up a little bit higher here. But you see how simply I've drawn that. I haven't spent a lot of time. I've just sort of put it on the page in a very quick expressionistic style. Okay, so one thing about expressionism is, for the most part, it should be pretty quick. Think of expressionism as I'm trying to express myself, and the feeling that I have this 1 minute is not necessarily the same as the feeling I'm going to have the next minute. And that's really how I use expressionism. I just think of it as I'm trying to express the way that I'm thinking in this one particular second, and I'm just going to go with it. So I'm going to put a little bit more blue on here. Now here's the cool thing about these. So you got to remember, this is ink. Okay, this is not watercolor that we're putting on here. This is ink. And I'm going to use a brush like this, and I got dirty, filthy water here. If you've ever seen me paint before, very, very seldom do I have clean water. Okay. And again, I'm just trying to do this rather quickly, sort of expressionistically, just trying to put some lines on the page right now. So you see, as soon as I touch this, that, it turns into ink. Okay? So you can move it around. Now, expressionists, for the most part, aren't going to leave this one color. So what we have here is we have lots of different colors in here. And I think one of the ones that I like to use in combination with the blue is this purple. So one of the other things that we can do with this particular product is we can just take our brush, wet it, and touch the pigment with the brush, and then you'll see you'll get some of the pigment that you can add right into there, okay? See, I did a little bit of overspray, but that's okay, that's cool looking. So if you want to put some finer branches in here with the purple, you most certainly can. You can also just take it like this and touch it into the wet area and get some of the color to go right off. Okay, so that might be one of the ways that you want to include expressionism in your painting. So there's lots of different ways to take this off here with the, so you can just draw right onto the painting, right into the wet area. Then you can just take your brush again. By the way, this is a pretty big brush to be doing this. I'm just doing this as a demonstration for YouTube, but yeah, this is... So one of the things to keep in mind is that this product, and the same with the blocks, okay, this is ink. This is not like watercolor. It will ruin clothes, it will, you know, stain the desktop that you're working on. So this is ink, not watercolor. So you have to be a lot more careful with it. But you can see the vibrancy of the colors is just, like, it's fantastic. So I'm gonna rinse this larger brush out and just set it to the side here for a second. I have a small flat, and I'm going to take one of these Inktense blocks, and I'm just going to wet it. Okay, just going to wet it like that, and you'll see that I will get this onto the page. I should say here, I'm working on watercolor paper, which is fairly typical for me. Most of my work is on watercolor paper. This is not a very expensive watercolor paper. This one is Canson, just 140-pound Canson. But it is a pretty good paper. I do enjoy using it. So you see, I'm just taking this right off the block. Okay, and I'm just putting it onto the page. I'm not trying to be pretty about it. I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to express myself with this particular painting. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you can see how easy this transfers off here. The other thing that you can do with this is, I'm just going to set that one down there. The other thing that you can do with this is you can draw with it. So you can see I can put this onto here. You can see it's going right into that wet area very nicely. And I can also just take my wet brush and begin to mix it right into the paint, or into the ink, I should say, that's already on there. Okay. So keep in mind that Expressionism is about you expressing yourself. It's about you getting your thoughts and your feelings on the page. These ink tints products are a great way to do that because they are super colorful, all right? Thanks a lot for watching. If you're currently a subscriber, I thank you very much. If you're not currently a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Come on back. I'm going to do a whole series on expressionistic painting. Yeah, I'd love to see you again. If you have a question or a comment, please leave it in the comment section. Thanks a lot.